Okay, we are good. Not we our, we are. We are good. Are you good? I'm good. My name is Matthew, and I'm going to take the next 30 minutes to tell you a little bit about me, and I'm going to introduce you to an individual who I have been, I won't say searching for, but I strongly believe that we are, well, we're all energy. We know that. We all operate on different frequencies. And when you get to a certain vibration of where you want to be, you will meet more individuals who are also on that same frequency, that same vibration. So after what seemed like years of searching, again, that's probably not the right term, but finding someone who was on the same path as me, someone who could encourage me. And I'm not speaking about family, I'm not talking about Jen, who has supported me 100% in everything that I've done when it comes to just entertainment-wise, the entertainment side of me. But I've met an individual. His name is Steve Wilsack, and Steve Wilsack is just a tremendous individual. I owe him so much. He is the one who suggested, we had a chat last night, and he suggested that I do exactly this. Get in front of the camera and push myself to do 5 consecutive nights, 30-minute shows. Now tonight, it'll just be me, because I want to give you some background about me and why I do what I do. Why do I get in front of the camera and do what I do? So I'm going to explain that, but I'm going to give you obviously some backstory in that. But Steve Wilsack, if you're watching this live, I can't say enough. You are that individual that I have been, again, searching for. But you were just on a different vibration, and I finally arrived parallel with you, and you've just given me some tremendous guidance. So, and you are just one of many people who have helped me get to where I am today. And I'm just speaking with, just the aspect of the entertainment industry, whether it has been MC work, voice actor, radio, lip sync, going back in the day to high school. So I'm going to basically lay out how being in front of people, entertaining crowds, being very comfortable with people, with a microphone, I'm going to tell you how that has always, in some form or another, been with me. And that's what I'm going to do tonight. So I'm hoping at the end of this 30 minutes you'll have a better understanding of why I do what I do. And I should also mention, I did mention that Steve Wilsack will be in here Thursday night. These will be 9 o'clock shows, 30 minutes. And I'll be speaking with a good friend of mine, Simon McGinnis, on Friday night at 9 o'clock as well. Simon, he's doing his own podcast. He's also involved with an organization called Quilts of Valor. So we're going to talk to Simon Friday night. So Steve on Thursday. Tomorrow night, I don't know. I will be here. I will be here tomorrow night. Whether or not I have a guest is another thing, which leads me into this. This is a platform that Facebook created. Facebook Live with Matthew is my platform that I invite you to join me if there is something that you want to discuss. So going forward, if there are topics that you would like to discuss, you're more than welcome to come on the show, do a split screen. I can take phone calls and put you on speaker. We can do it old school. I will always invite you to actively participate in these shows, whether you are a guest doing a split screen, you're on the phone, or just commenting back and forth in the comment section. So I always appreciate the live views. If you're watching this at your leisure, I appreciate that as well. I've been doing this in front of the camera since March of 2017, and we're going to get to that in just a couple of moments. So if you're just joining me, if you're just if you're just scrolling through Facebook tonight, my name is Matthew, and this is something brand new. This is not Matt TV. This is Facebook Live with Matthew, which I think just sounds a little more inviting. So welcome wherever you are. I do like to start off my program by just giving you an idea of what the weather is like. Currently right here in North End, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, we have some light freezing drizzle. It's about -8. Looking ahead to tomorrow, the temperature goes back up to +9 with rain. So we spent 21 years in British Columbia. We just arrived here in Nova Scotia in August of last year, so we've only been here a few months. And I've talked to, obviously, many Nova Scotians who have spent many winters here in Nova Scotia, and I don't think many people have seen such a drastic change in temperature. Yes, the snow comes and it goes and we get rain, but everyone seems to be quite baffled how the temperature has. I know there have been some mornings, I have it right here in my diary. I document everything right here, so I know that there have been mornings where there has been a temperature swing of 30 degrees in a 24-hour period. That's a pretty significant swing in temperature. And I always like to compare weather. I thought I would go off planet tonight. I just want to let you know what the temperature is like on Mars this evening, as we're at -8 with some light freezing drizzle. And feel free to let me know what the temperature is like in your neck of the woods. Massive snowstorm on Friday. Yeah, there is snow in the forecast here, but all it says is snow. There hasn't been a warning or a special weather statement, hasn't been posted yet, but snow is in the forecast definitely. But I just want to let you know what the current temperature is on the planet Mars. Earlier today, the high temperature was -14 Fahrenheit. That's -25 degrees. And most people in northern Ontario, northern parts of Canada this time of year, you can definitely relate to -25 Celsius. That's the high temperature. Tonight, the low temperature on Mars is it's -117 Fahrenheit, which is -82 degrees. So that being put out there, what is the coldest temperature that you have ever physically experienced? What's the coldest temperature? And I'm not talking about polar bear swims, because I have done a polar bear swim. What's the coldest temperature that you have been exposed to? You don't have to give the situation, whether it was an accident or you're just doing it for TikTok. I'm just curious. We're going to have some fun in the next 30 minutes as I let you know a little bit more about me. I'm definitely going to give you the opportunity to participate, and we can just kind of compare notes as we go along. So thank you for the live views. My name is Matthew, and this is the inaugural episode of Facebook Live with Matthew. It's kind of like, I don't know, a welcome mat. Thank you. Okay, so I just gave you the invite. This is an open invitation, but guest will be by, definitely an invitation, an open invitation, but I am the host. I'm the only one running this. I'm the only one turning it off and on. I'm doing the lights. I'm unfortunately doing the makeup and the hair. So, but my guest, I did a promo earlier today. This is not a program to incite rage or anger. I'm not trying to draw that out of people. I'm just here to share stories. This is what's going on in my life. I'm searching for interesting people who want to share what's going on in their life. That's really, in a nutshell, it doesn't get any more extensive than that. We like to have some fun here. Sometimes I do go on a bit of a rant, but in my mind, it's justified. It's justified. Okay, we talked about that. Megan St. Rose. I've never met her in person. I did message her today. We met on a Facebook page here a few weeks ago. She's in the Nova Scotia area, and we're making some headway on getting Megan on the show next week. And on the advice of Stephen Wilsack, who will be on the show on Thursday, he sent me an invite to reach out to one of his friends, MJ Miller, who is a writer, actor, comedian in this area. So I'm in the stages of reaching out to her to see if she would come on this podcast as well. So really amping it up. Like I said, I have been doing Matt TV since March of 2017. We're just going to drop that. We're going to go with Facebook Live with Matthew. And I just want to, it's one thing for me to sit down and talk to you, but it would just be much more fun to have 2 or 3 people to have discussions with. So again, the invite is always there if you want to come on. If you have something that you want to say, something that you want to discuss, the platform is here. Okay, I just want to keep an eye on the time. 9:11. Okay, so I just want to take you back. A little bit to give you an idea of why in my 49th year that I'm sitting in a chair in Halifax, Nova Scotia, in front of my iPad doing what I'm doing right now. And I've said this many times, this is therapy for me. This is really therapy for me. The technology is there. Why not make use of it? I love to send people text. Messenger is a great tool. Yes, the computer can dictate what you're saying, but I love to leave messages. And the one thing I like about leaving messages is those individuals who within a few minutes, maybe a few hours, maybe at the end of their day, they send you a voice message back. So most times they probably haven't heard you in a long time, but when they respond and you get to hear their voice, well, that's just a bonus. So that's one of the main reasons why I do this. I love to stay connected with people. Anyone who's grown up with me knows that I probably haven't changed too much. I just wanted to be friends with everyone. Did I have some bad moments as an adolescent? Absolutely. Absolutely. But here we are in my 49th year. I would like to think that I'm much more full of love than I am hatred. There's just so much of it out there, and I don't want to get sidetracked. I don't want to get sidetracked. I've talked about all kinds of different things over the last 5 years, so I just want to keep it nice and tight and let you know a little bit more about me, not so much the Grant rant. 2017. Before then, I had never done what I'm doing right now. But I knew that my sister, Jill, was getting ready to run in the Boston Marathon. And I knew that I was not going to miss that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I knew that I wanted to document it. And I thought of different ways to do it. I reached out to a production company and just renting professional equipment. Well, that just quickly fell off to the wayside. And then, like a bolt of lightning, knowing that this device had existed forever. Oh, there's Zorro. Had existed forever. I thought, well, I'll just go live. I'll just document everything with videos on my phone. So I know it was the middle of March 2017. I hadn't even bought the Matt TV Canadian Unity flag. And I was sitting in my garage in White Rock, and I turned on the phone, and I had already prepared I was going to do like some type of trivia. Looking back on it now, it's just hilarious. I made up trivia for different people that I would interview on the Greyhound bus as we traveled across the States. And you can go back and see all those videos. So that's when I really, that's when this started. That's when this aspect or this branch vein of Matt TV was hatched. But we have to go way back. We have to go back to when we're just going to take a quick trip down memory lane, and it's all going to come full circle. It's all going to come full circle within the next 16 minutes, I promise. So thank you for the live views. If you're just tuning in, this is Matthew. This is the inaugural episode of Facebook Live with Matthew, and the invitation will always be there for you to hang out with me, always. Saturdays. And it'll be 9 o'clock at night. And I'm doing this tonight. This is the first of 5. This is a challenge put forward by Steve Wilsack, who will be on the show on Thursday, challenging me to do 5 consecutive nights of 30-minute shows. So we are well underway with our first episode. So, and this is just a lot of fun for me. This is therapy. So again, thank you for the live views. Okay, so Matt TV, this one aspect, this formation of myself, 2017. But let's just go back. I just kind of want to give you an idea how, like I said from the very beginning, being in front of people, entertaining people, making people laugh, being in plays, being in musicals, that was always a part of my life, one of my first memories. And I've probably talked about this on the show. My siblings are probably tired of me talking about it. But there was a time when we would be on vacation and we would be at a campground and I would just wander off and show up at a stranger's campground, get up on their picnic table and sing very select lines from very select Ronnie Millsap songs. So at a young age, I was singing for strangers, and they were rewarding me with chocolate bars and some candies and sometimes some change. So after a while, I would be sent off to sing and collect change and candy. So that was my first memory of being in front of people and not being shy. So it's kind of weird. I like when I'm emceeing, when I'm doing something in the moment or a professional part. When you know that people are looking at you, it's one thing. But when I'm out in public, I don't necessarily like, and I'm sure a lot of people are like this, I don't like to draw unnecessary attention to myself. For instance, when I go to a professional football game, if I go to any professional venue or even to a concert, I'm the type of individual, I like to sit down and enjoy the show. And that's nothing against everyone else who wants to stand up and scream, I get it. But for a football game, not so much a football game because you're just standing the whole time. But I appreciate the athleticism, I appreciate the musician. And I don't know how I get sidetracked on that, but let's just go back to just my early days. So we have me getting up in front of complete strangers singing Ronnie Millsap. As the years go by, I'm now in church. I'm doing Christmas plays. I'm singing in the choir. I'm now in high school. I'm doing high school plays. I did, one high school play for Mr. Slip, who's now the mayor of Woodstock. Lip syncs. So those were all events where you were in front of your peers, performing, having fun, getting a reaction. And thank goodness all this happened before this, which made it even that much better because you had to be in the friggin' moment, because if you weren't, you missed it. You weren't getting it back. Now there may be some vintage footage of lip syncs from days gone by. Wouldn't that be awesome to see? But it's not like that anymore, right? Not like that. So we're now in high school. Lip syncs. Now people are deciding, well, what are you going to do now? Like, people are going to university. People are going off to college. I got 12 minutes left. My timing is good. People are going off to college. What am I going to do? So I decided, like a lot of people did, I took a year off. And then I ended up taking radio broadcasting. And when I was in high school, just backtrack just a minute, when I was in high school, grade 11, I remember standing in the crush area by the lockers at the top of the red stairs, next to the railing, opposite the stairs. Anyone who went to Woodstock High School knows exactly where I was standing. It was in grade 11. I don't know what month it was. I don't know if it was towards the end, getting ready to graduate or get out of grade 11. But that was the year that I was like, I will live in British Columbia. I am going to move to Vancouver. And at that time, I wasn't in radio broadcasting. Radio broadcasting wasn't even a thought. But we fast forward to 1992, and if I'm boring you, feel free to keep on scrolling. If you're watching this at your leisure, maybe go top up your coffee. We got another 10 minutes, but I'm just kind of giving you a history of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's just here talking with you. That's all I'm doing. Radio broadcasting. I take 2 years of radio broadcasting. I did some time at CJ. That was a great experience. That was a great experience. The timing was really bad because I was at a point in my life where I haven't had a drink in like 14, 15 years. But back in the day, I liked to drink. And my work schedule and my drinking schedule, well, they just never coincided. And there were just a lot of bad things happened, which is unfortunate. Looking back on it, it was unfortunate because maybe something, well, no, because if I had stayed in radio back there, I wouldn't be sitting where I'm sitting right now. I absolutely know, because everything happens for a reason. So I do some radio broadcasting in New Brunswick in the winter of 1999. I left New Brunswick. I went to Florida for 5 months, and then I showed up in the province of British Columbia in spring of 2000. So grade 11, I wanted to move to BC. Now, I should say, I did have my 25th birthday in BC. I did come out to BC twice. The second time I stayed, the first time I was only out in BC for like 2.5 months, which gave me the nickname Homing Pigeon, because I had the nickname Pigeon before I left. After only being gone for 2.5 months, it was Homing Pigeon. But then I left for a second time, and I was out there for 21 years. While I was in BC, the first time I arrived when I was 25, I was hired by Rock 101. And another thing before I get into the rest of this, anyone who knows me, I have manifested. You manifest. Whatever you were living in your life right now, you've manifested. I personally have manifested. I have made requests in the morning. For instance, I made a request one day to find a dollar bill, not a dollar bill, but I wanted to find money on the ground, not a coin, not a toonie, not a loony, not some pocket change. I wanted to find a big bill, and I specifically said, I want to find a crisp, clean $50 bill. And 6 hours later, a crisp, clean $50 bill, pretty sure materialized and fell out of the sky about 20 feet away from me. I can't even make that up. That was amazing. So just remember that we all have the power to manifest. Thoughts become things. I've preached that over and over and over again. So keep that in mind as I go through a series of things that I have just manifested. Grade 11. I want to make sure my time is good. 7 minutes. Grade 11. I wanted to go to BC. In 2000, I ended up there. So yeah, sometimes manifestations, they take a little bit longer. Some of it, hours, days, weeks, years. But when it does happen, you go back to the moment that you first thought of it, and you're like, yeah, I did that. I made that happen. So you do something else. So when I took radio broadcasting, when I graduated in 1994 from radio broadcasting, me, Matthew, from Woodstock, New Brunswick, I told myself someday I will work at Rock 101. Which was like the biggest rock and roll station in North America. I did, twice. Now, looking back on it, they did allow me on the air once, but they have this, there's this stereotype that if you are from a small town, there's just absolutely no way that you can be successful in a major market, which I think is, well, just look at Brother Jake. You know, Brother Jake was born in Moncton. He spent some time in Nova Scotia, spent some time in Manitoba, and then he just, kicked ass while he was on Rock 101 out there. So I don't have no idea. But going back to Rock 101, I did have the chance. Brother Jake, the champ, was one of the first guys I met when I worked at Rock 101. So that was amazing. So just manifesting. Oh my goodness, there's. My first time, I don't want to miss this because this is really important. My first time on radio, and anything that I'm saying, if you can compare, if you can relate to anything that I'm saying, please leave comments. I'd love to hear back from you. My first time on the radio was with Ted Hayward. And I was in grade 6 or 7. This is like the mid-'80s, going to Southern Carleton Elementary School. Riding the bus, I think Marvin Kidney, bus number 42. My memory's pretty good. Bus number 42, Marvin Kidney. I remember dropping the kids off at the high school, and then the bus would take us out to Southern Carleton Elementary School. But that weekend before, I was at the Country Comfort Center, owned back then by the Sewells, where they used to have their waterbed jumping competitions. After I won that first year, Ted Hayward, who was doing a remote, interviewed me, and that played on CJ all weekend and into Monday. That was my first taste of radio, obviously way before high school and all that stuff. So everything is, we're still going in line with the entertainment stuff, still having fun with microphones. Radio, I ended up going to Whistler. I worked at Mountain FM for a bit. I worked at a small radio station in Port Moody, but eventually radio just got boring. I much prefer this. I would much rather have a banter back and forth with a guest instead of talking for 2 or 3 minutes and then playing you 3 songs that take up 10 minutes. So if I never did radio again, I would be okay with that, because I much prefer just looking at the camera here and communicating with you. 4 minutes left. Okay. There's a few people I want to mention. I'm going to get to those in a minute. So radio aside, I did tons of MC work. So again, in front of crowds. Some really great gigs that I had. I was hired by a company I think they were from Chicago. There was a big event up on Seymour Mountain. It was kind of like Tough Mudder, but it was like the American version. I think it was like the Warrior Race or something. But I emceed that. I was at the start line, I was at the finish line, I was handing out medals. That was just a tremendous afternoon. Another individual hired me from Montreal to the Whibbit Games. You've probably seen those big plastic floating devices. MC work, just introing bands. I spent the last 10 years being the MC for the Fraser Valley West chapter of the Gutsy Walk. Just tremendous individuals. So MC work, if I can continue to do that out here, because the MC work is that's the easy part for us. All the hard work has been done. You are given notes. You may go to a few rehearsals, but you're just introducing people. You're just having fun, introducing people to come up and do what they need to do. But just some great experience doing MC work. I think my biggest crowd was 8,000 people, and that was back when I was at Woodstock, introing the RCMP musical ride. Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm not going to, I don't want to go over. Okay, MC work. Now I'm a voice actor. I will continue to, and going back to search for the individual that I need in my corner that can push me, get me outside of the box, is Steve Wilsack. And you're going to meet Steve on Thursday night right here. We've communicated back and forth. We started communicating like last July. He was instrumental in us where I am right now with this roof over my head. There's a good chance that probably would not have happened if Steve Wilsack had not been a part of it. So a big thank you to Steve. You'll meet him on Thursday night. Just going back to the voice acting, I wouldn't have been able to do the projects that I did if I didn't mention the following people. And unfortunately for me, the people that I'm about to list off, they're on the other side of the country. They're just Rice Honeywell. Rice Honeywell was at Spinnaker Sound, which was a building next door to us in White Rock, where we lived on Buena Vista, where we spent 12 years. For part of those 12 years, the building on the corner, the Gargoyle building, was Spinnaker Sound. And I remember going over and talking to Rice, who introduced me to Alistair Abel, who helped put together my first demo, who helped get me my first agent. I was then introduced to Michael Dobson. If you have the opportunity, Google Michael Richard Dobson, voice actor. Go to his website, and the talent that guy has his resume is 5-6 pages long. And he helped me put together my narration demo. And I'll never forget being at his place, in his booth, with him recording me, telling me that I had a good sound. So if you've ever had someone pump your tires, chances are you still remember when they pumped your tires. So Michael Dobson, just a tremendous individual, so gifted, just so humble, just one of those individuals. All these guys, my agent, Brenda Campbell, who's at West right now, James Meyer, who helped put together my latest demo, which is now 2 years old, my voice imaging demo. So I'm always trying to do something different, which always leads me to meeting different people. So I just had to make sure that I mentioned those individuals. And if it wasn't for those individuals, and I may just go over, it's 9:30 now, if it wasn't for those individuals, I wouldn't have content up on SoundCloud. Original content, stuff that I have written, stuff that I have produced, stuff that I have put together. I'm very proud. And going back to manifesting, when I received representation with Brenda, one of the first things that I wanted to accomplish, I wanted to voice a US television commercial, which I did. I think that was just before we returned home in 2016, I believe. 2014, 2016. It's been a while, unfortunately, but landing that gig for Tony Roma's U.S. commercial, that was pretty cool. And the highlight for me, and this was another manifesting, and this didn't take very long. My first agent, she sent me an audition for a narration for a TV show. And that was something else that I really wanted to accomplish. And I ended up doing the last 3 seasons, 9 episodes of Dark Waters of Crime. So those things would not have happened if I hadn't met Rice, who put me in touch with Alistair, who put me in touch with Dobson, who put me in touch with Brenda, with James. So, and here we are, all these years later, all these people, all these networking, all these connections. And it's led me to Steve Wilsack, and it's led me to Halifax, Nova Scotia, and it's led me to doing this. So this is just a continuation of what I need to do. This is my outlet. This is therapy for me. You know, my sister runs. My father walks. Both of my brothers are artists in their spare time. I turn on the camera and I tell you what's going on in my world, and I invite you to let me know what's happening in your world, and tell anyone else who was watching it live, who was here in the moment, or is watching it whenever they have time. Because well, let's face it, there's really a lot going on in the world. And I'm going to leave you with this, but I will be back here tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. I'm going to work on having a guest. If you would like to be my first guest, there's a time slot available tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Just let me know. But keep this in mind. Just on the other side of the pond, a world away, there are civilians in a country, Ukraine, that is under invasion. So if you know any Ukrainian community centers in your area, I was leaving work today and there were a group of Canadian Ukrainians on the street corner with signs. Actually, one of the signs, it'll be backwards, but it was basically stop Putin, stop the war. And they had their Ukraine flags out there. So when you go to bed tonight and you're able to, maybe have a warm beverage before you go to bed, you crawl into your nice bed, you could turn off the lights, maybe grab a snack. Know that there are people on the move. There are people on the move all over this planet. So let's just be thankful. Let's be grateful for what we have right here in the moment. And I know that I have the technology to continue to communicate with you, and that's what I plan on doing. So if you want to come along for the ride, the invitation is there. Okay, it may be a little bit over, but I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to start working on my show the moment I finish this, because that's what I do. Okay, thank you for the live views. Carrie, Danny. Danny, the next time I'm back in town and there's no snow on the ground, we got to, whatever, play some ball, man. We got to go hit some golf balls or play some softball or something. I'm up for anything. But listen, enjoy your night. We'll be back here tomorrow night. This is it. This is the inaugural. I think I only said Matt TV, including when I just said it, maybe 3 or 4 times. I'm not going to get rid of that page. That'll stay there, even though there hasn't been anything on there in quite a while. But again, to Steve Wilsack, thank you for challenging me to do exactly what I need to be doing, and it's doing this. So thank you. My name is Matthew. Yeah, it is. My name is Matthew. And this has been the first episode of Facebook Live with Matthew.